Justice Secretary Boying Remulla says the Philippine government chose not to pursue the war on drugs cases and let the International Criminal Court take over, citing destroyed or absent evidence. Speaking at a press conference on Thursday, June 26, Remulla acknowledges the challenges faced by the local justice system. He says it was difficult to build up and prove the cases here in the Philippines. He further elaborates on the systemic issues with evidence, lamenting the lack of police reports, ballistics, or DNA, among others. Remulla says the drug war cases reached the ICC because everything that could be erased was erased. Remulla indicates that the Philippines gave up its jurisdiction on the cases for the ICCs because it was the victims who filed their cases with the international body. He emphasizes that this cooperation does not signal an intent to rejoin the ICC. But Remulla affirms that it signifies a recognition of the ICC's authority in handling the contentious cases, especially those involving former President Rodrigo Duterte. Remulla states that the Witness Protection Program currently has 3 or 4 witnesses to the war on drugs, with more expected to come forward. The ICC currently has custody of Duterte as he faces crimes against humanity charges over his bloody anti-drug campaign. In 2017, the Supreme Court conducted an oral argument on the petition to nullify Oplan Double Barrel and its implementing rules, which gave rise to the war on drugs. After the conclusion of the oral argument, the High Court ordered the government to submit all Tokhang police reports. This includes details about the victim, date, time, and place of the drug operations, and names of Philippine National Police team leader and team members who participated in the pre-operation plan. It also contains the post-operation report, names of the scene of the crime operatives, team leader, and members who investigated the killing, and investigation reports. However, in 2019, one of the petitioners, the Center for International Law, said the government had not complied with the order as it only submitted non-drug-related deaths. Malakanany hits back at Vice President Sara Duterte's criticism of President Bongbong Marcos' so-called photo op at a drug incineration facility in Tarlac by showing a picture of the Vice President's father doing the same thing. Duterte earlier said it was not the President's job to take photo opportunities with seized illegal drugs. She was referring to the destruction of over 9.48 billion pesos worth of illegal drugs at a waste management facility in Capas, Tarlac on Wednesday, June 25. In a briefing on Thursday, June 26, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro defends Marcos, saying it was the public's right to know about the President's initiatives against illegal drugs.
Ang Pangulo ay gumising ng maaga kahapon. Pumunta sa Tarlac, nagtrabaho, nagutos, hindi nagbakasyon, at binantayan ang pagkasira ng illegal na droga. Nais ng Pangulo na masawata ang ang illegal na droga sa ating bansa. At ang pagtatrabaho po ng Pangulo ay dapat maramdaman ng tao. Hindi po ito pang photo ops lang. Ito ay nagsisilbing babala sa mga kriminal. At nagsisilbi rin po itong inspirasyon sa taong bayan na nagdanais na masawata ang illegal na droga.
Castro then shows a printed news article bearing a photo of former President Rodrigo Duterte during a drug incineration activity in 2020.
So, baka nakalimutan po ito ni Vice Presidente. So, ang pagtatrabaho po naman ay hindi dapat itago, dapat nakikita ng taong bayan. Dapat nagre-report ang Pangulo sa taong bayan.
This was not the first time that Castro hit Vice President Duterte's criticism by recalling her father's issues during his term. At a briefing on Monday, June 23, Castro was asked to respond to Vice President Duterte's remarks questioning where and how the Marcos administration spent the 16 trillion peso national debt. Castro responded by reminding the Vice President of the trillions of pesos in debt incurred during her father's administration. She also clarified that the 16 trillion pesos being referred to is the total debt amount of the Philippine government, much of which had accumulated even before Marcos took office. Senator Alan Peter Kayatano believes that the impeachment court should first resolve the issue of jurisdiction before looking into the evidence against Vice President Sara Duterte. In an interview on Thursday, June 26, Cayetano was asked about some apprehensions that the impeachment case against Duterte may be dismissed without seeing the evidence against her.
Nalito nung ibang legal luminaries ang publiko na ang uunahin ay yung ebidensya. Ang uunahin mo parate ay jurisdiction.
He then cites the argument used by Senator Bato de la Rosa when he moved for the dismissal of the case against the Vice President on June 10. Cayetano later amended de la Rosa's motion to return to the House the articles of impeachment against Duterte without dismissing nor terminating the case. During the interview, he explains that one must first determine whether the court has jurisdiction or not before presenting evidence.
So kahit saan korte, bago mo ipalatag yung ebidensya, titignan mo muna may jurisdiction ba yung korte na yan o hindi. So I can only assure the public na aabot tayo sa ebidensya if the whole impeachment court says na wala tong fatal constitutional defect that takes out jurisdiction from the court. Kasi daw unconstitutional kasi more than one impeachment filed in a year.
Asked then if the issue of jurisdiction must be resolved first by the impeachment court, Kayatano says that is a logical move. He says the problem will arise if the majority agrees with the Duterte camp's assertion that the House violated the Constitution. He says if that happens, the issue might end up before the Supreme Court. But Cayetano says it might not reach that point if a majority rules that the impeachment court has jurisdiction over the case against Duterte. Duterte herself has already asked the impeachment court to dismiss the case against her. She said the complaint was invalid from the outset as it supposedly violated the one-year ban on filing impeachment cases. Despite Vice President Sara Duterte's pronouncement that she is not supporting any country, two House of Representatives lawmakers insist that she is pro-China based on her records. House Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega V and Assistant Majority Leader Jay Conghun issued their joint statement on Thursday, June 26, following Duterte's claim that the government is pushing the narrative that she is pro-China for a long time. Ortega asserts that the Dutertes are pro-China, saying the Vice President's record speaks for itself. The lawmaker mentions the Vice President's continued refusal to support the country's legal victory in the West Philippine Sea, as well as her silence about China's aggression in the region. For his part, Conghun believes that Duterte's silence on the matter emboldens foreign encroachment and creates confusion among Filipinos. He says Duterte's silence as China targets Filipino fishermen is as loud as her leaning. Duterte for the first time commented on the issue surrounding the West Philippine Sea in a speech she delivered before a group of Filipinos in Australia on June 22. While recognizing the country's 2016 arbitral award victory, Vice President Duterte said it should be implemented through diplomatic means. The Vice President slammed the Marcos administration for allowing the United States to deploy its missiles in the country. She said this move antagonizes China, adding it does not support an independent foreign policy. She said the problem in the West Philippine Sea does not make up the Philippines' entire relation with China. Then on June 25, Duterte brushes aside the moves to tag her as pro-China, stating that she is not for any country at all. The Department of Foreign Affairs says the second batch of Filipino repatriates from the Middle East is expected to arrive in the Philippines on Friday, June 27 or Saturday, June 28. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo De Vega says this group consists of 20 Filipinos from Israel. The first batch of overseas Filipino worker repatriates from the Middle East arrived safely in the Philippines on Tuesday evening, June 24. The OFWs were primarily from Israel, Jordan, Palestine, and Qatar. The Department of Migrant Workers and Overseas Workers Welfare Administration provided financial assistance of 150,000 pesos. The agencies also provided airport support, including temporary shelter or transportation to their respective provinces. Amid the tensions in the Middle East, the Philippine government raised the alert levels in Israel and Iran to Alert Level 3. Under Alert Level 3, all overseas Filipinos in Israel and Iran are urged to return to the Philippines. A ceasefire took hold Tuesday on the 12th day of the war between Israel and Iran, with each side initially accusing the other of violating it until the missiles, drones, and bombs finally stopped.